Welcome to the Value Proposition by the Fitness Business Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Pellegrino. The Value Proposition is a monthly show on the Fitness Business Podcast created specifically for industry suppliers to showcase the value that they bring to health club owners and operators beyond their product or service. For our August 2022 show, we'll be speaking with Brad Thorpe, inventor of Isophit, the most versatile isometric strength training system ever developed. Whether you are a health and fitness organization, rehabilitation center, or sports performance center, Isophit can help you look, feel, and function better. Brad, welcome to the Value Proposition.
Sarah, thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to get started, and it's been just an amazing week already. So this is only making it better. So thank you.
Well, we love to hear it. We're going to make the week even better by this recording. So we cannot wait to share this message with our FBP family. Brad, start us off today by explaining to our FBP family what isometrics is.
Well, isometrics, it's a type of muscle contraction that, to be honest, the industry kind of forgot about. So it's learning how to contract muscle tissue without moving joints. It's kind of the foundational principle of all human movement, whether it's yoga, whether it's weightlifting, or whether it's sport performance. So isometrics is a way that what you can do is help strengthen the muscular system so it helps you prepare for movement versus what we traditionally do in the dynamic exercise realm is we practice movement and we're ill prepared for it. So what we did was basically give businesses and their participants a place to start exercise. Because, I know that's one of the biggest questions in fitness. How do I start? Well, start with Isophit and then do yoga, Pilates, weightlifting, running, and it's unbelievable. And to be honest, it's taking off. So you don't want to be, late to the party.
Well, and the question is, how do I start without getting hurt, right?
Yeah. And here's a way that you can magnify your fitness results, whether it's, you're looking at weight loss or cardiovascular efficiency, muscular strength, bone density, increased tendon stiffness and resiliency, all in one method of exercise. And all you have to do is basically just change the protocols, right? So you look at that and you go, oh my God, look at the versatility. So we work with young athletes, 8 years old, 9 years old. We work with 94-year-old people. Their goals are different, but the method of exercise is so safe and so effective, and it's time efficient, right? And it's also for businesses, because we're really concerned about how do we help them make revenue. It's a cash cow because it differentiates you and your business from your competitors.
Oh my goodness. Brad, what first piqued your interest in isometrics and led you to create the Isophit?
Oh man. So we're going back to about 2007, give or take, a year or two. So I was the 21st person in the world with my designations at the time. So kind of leading edge information, and those two organizations were the Resistance Training Specialist Program and Muscle Activation Techniques. So we'll put those over on the side. So they skirted isometrics. They didn't really do anything with it too much. At that point, I was the 21st person in the world, as I said, but I had hypertension. I had high blood pressure myself. And so in 2007, I was basically working out of a home-based studio, and I heard it over the radio, a study from Sherry McCowan, and she's a university professor at Windsor University now. She heads up their department. But going back to 2007, what they found and what they promoted was isometrics was good for reducing blood pressure. And I had been struggling with blood pressure at this point, or blood pressure issues, for 14 years. And I was avoiding it due to the fact that most people, medical and fitness professionals at the time, were telling you if you had high blood pressure, it was contraindicated for isometrics. So don't do isometrics because it's bad for you, because it's going to elevate your blood pressure. So 21st person in the world with my designation, so super crazy smart dude, blood pressure issues, 14 years of struggling, modified diet, changed lifestyle, stopped drinking, drank more, did all this stuff. 2 weeks later, my blood pressure was normalized. Daily isometrics. And it's like, people go BS, and I'm like, okay, I got 14 years of data to say it went like this to stop. And it was 20 minutes a day, and their protocol was 24 minutes a week. So my blood pressure has been great. So I jumped down this rabbit hole going, okay, well, if I'm using it for neuromuscular reeducation to help with people with pain and performance issues, and then I can help people with blood pressure, and that's me. And also the reason I got into fitness in the first place is my mom's dad died of a massive heart attack when he was 45. She was 15. Her mom died when she was 33, and my grandmother was 68 years old. So both wicked young. Yeah. This information started in 1969. So you go back and you go, that's almost 48 million people that could have been saved if this information about isometrics got out to the masses. You know, because I think it's 1 in 4. I don't know, it's actually almost 50% of Americans now suffer from hypertension, whether it's type 1 or type 2. We can make a massive difference in that number. And the American Heart Association, the British Journal of Sports Medicine, and the Mayo Clinic have both, or all three of them, have come up with papers stating that isometrics is superior to cardiovascular conditioning and resistance training and high intensity interval training for lowering blood pressure in a hypertensive population.
Wow.
Mouthful. But that's why you should be doing it, because it's so effective.
Amazing. So you just went through a few benefits for us, blood pressure being one of them, reducing joint pressure, things of that nature. What are some other, just like, let's pick top three benefits of isometric training? What do you
increase muscle contractility, right? Okay. So if you're an athlete or you're an older person and you're looking at moving better, okay, having increased muscle tension, right? Not tension is bad, tension is good. It holds you together, right? And as we age, we shrink a little bit. So that means things are getting looser naturally. So we got to get tighter as we age. We don't need to get looser. A long explanation. I got podcasts on that, so go visit. But what you want to do is you're looking at increased neural activity to muscle structure, right? So that increases the contractility better. Muscles burn calories. We all know that. So isometrics is very effective for burning adipose tissue, which is fat. So most people who are obese, they're told to do cardio conditioning, but yet cardio leads to injury, especially when you're obese. And to be honest, most obese people, and this is a generalized statement, so I do recognize that, and I hope not to offend people, most people who are obese probably don't like exercise so much, right? They got a history of not liking it so much. So here's a safer way for an obese person to start exercise. And we've had people lose 15 pounds in 15 hours of exercise over the course of a month, right? And that's without diet modification, without changing exercise protocols, just adding isometrics. So it's safer. So you got blood pressure, you got neural activation, you also got obviously the reduction of obesity, but it also helps with athletic performance, right? Because one of the things that we forget when muscles contract, the first natural contraction of a muscle is isometric based. So you got to stabilize first, then contract second, right? And the transitional phase between flexion, extension, rotation left, rotation right is always isometric, because you got to stop and zero out that position in order to stabilize, to change direction. So we also reduce injuries. So it's crazy. And I know it sounds too good to be true. So my point would be, then try it.
Try it.
Try it.
Absolutely.
You know, come back and sort of say, Brad's wrong. Guess what? Not so wrong on this one.
No. I love to hear that, Brad. Now we've walked through the benefits, great background on what isometrics is. Talk us through the actual Isophit. What models exist?
So right now we currently have two different models. The original one is called the Isophit Strength Trainer. It's similar to a Pilates machine when you would sort of think of size and scale. So similar. So it's like a 7-foot long bed. It is, to be honest, the most versatile exercise product probably ever developed, in the sense that it restrains all human joint motion at every muscle length, in every joint position, and up to 4 people can use it at once. So it's actually pretty cool, and it takes up 16 square feet. Yeah, it is beautifully designed. It's a simple product, but not easy. And it's not simple from a thought process. You need to be skilled in understanding how to apply force to human structure, right? So we have that model. And then during COVID, because the gym industry unfortunately kind of got slammed by government interference, different conversation. But what happened was, well, the gym industry and the exercise and therapy industry were my principal clients. And it's like, well, if everyone's going to be at home, let's roll out an at-home product. And not so much at home, a mobile product. So we scaled down the Isophit strength trainer, which is about 300 pounds, down to a 39-pound portable unit that basically gives you the restraint of 600 pounds worth of force. So you can do all kinds of wonderful exercises. Now, is it as versatile as the other one? No, but you can still do hundreds of thousands of exercises. And that's basically just a little bit less than 7 square feet. Yeah, and 39 pounds. So when I go to travel, I carry it with me as basically oversized luggage. And it counts as one bag. And because of the weight, it doesn't classify as overweight luggage. So it's pretty cool. So I can travel anywhere in the world, call it for bag fee. So it's great. And then we have 3 different other products in the pipeline. One is purpose-built because the NBA teams I work with kind of asked for it. And another one's purpose-built for the NFL. So the MSK, which is 39 pounds, well, it's not really good from a high up perspective, and I'm dealing with 7-foot guys. So I created a product called Isophit Go, and it's more of a consumer product that's built on a steel-based and webbing system. And we can't really divulge too much because we're still in the patenting process with that, but it'll be priced in and around $400 US. Like that's the window. We're still waiting on production costs. But with the NFL, and this was specific to the Carolina Panthers, we want this MSK. This is absolutely fantastic. Oh my God. But it says there's a 600-pound weight limit and it's only 39 pounds, but our guys are like 400 pounds and they're deadlifting 1,000 pounds. Do you think we'll break it? I'm like, yeah, probably you're going to break it. They're like, oh, well, that's not good. I'm like, you're right, it's not good, but we can build a bigger one for you. So we created a product called the Isophit 454, and 454 is relative to a US half ton, right? So that's 1,000 pounds that this thing's capable of doing. And it's still 7 square feet, right? For the commercial gym spaces out there who are going, I want to put an Isofit section in my facility. Go with the Isofit 454 because you don't know who's going to walk over and use it, but it's only 7 square feet. So let's say you had 400 square feet dedicated to it, you could put 10 units in there, whether it's group exercise classes or, it's a training center where it's one-on-one training. And once people get familiar with it, what they can do is they can use it on their own. But I do recommend having instruction first because isometrics is totally different. Simple, as everyone says, because there's not moving, but every degree of motion affects something differently. So it's simple, but highly complex. And then we got basically what we call the fit strap, which is basically that same webbing system. It'll be $50 where it's just webbing and grommet. So that way we've basically hit all price points going from $50. The strength trainer we talked about earlier is 12,000 US. So we cover the whole thing. But the strength trainer, oh my God, is so beautiful. It is a sexy machine. And it basically people stop and they go, oh, what is that? Like it's a conversation starter because people in the fitness industry they haven't seen it. It's not a treadmill. It's not something they've ever seen before. And there's usually like fancy comments and fun comments like, oh my God, it's going to slice off my leg because it kind of looks like a big, huge, giant mousetrap or a guillotine type thing. It's like, yeah, it's going to shred fat. It's going to cut it off. You're going to have all kinds of fun with this. So.
Wow. So much goodness wrapped up in there, Brad. When someone is bringing an Isofit into their facility, speaking in commercial terms for the sake of this next question, how does that all work, Brad? Like, who are you, the education person that comes in, and do you offer training for their trainers so that they can use it? Like, how are we getting the word out that, hey, once you buy this Isofit, this is how the operator can use it to drive more revenue and for the members to benefit from it?
So what we traditionally do, so they're in our packages, so either our 5 or 10 unit package, and obviously if you scale up, that's a different conversation. Yeah. But I usually come with package in the sense that it's either a 1 or 2 day seminar. So you get your key stakeholders or your key trainers and stuff like that, because you do need somebody to champion this. You just can't put baby in the corner and hope that it's going to do well. You need somebody to be an advocate within your facility, right? So what I do is I come down, all of our information or a ton of our information is basically on YouTube. So that way people have free access, right? So that way they can keep going back. To me, yes, there should be a cost for education, but it should be closer to free versus some of the egregious rates people are charging. And for me, I love traveling and I love meeting new people. And because it is my baby, I want to showcase it the best. So like, as I mentioned, I was in Montreal yesterday and today, just basically doing a client demo. So what we traditionally do is I meet with the team, and then I encourage the facilities to have like a community event where you bring in your members. So then what it is, I showcase the benefits of Isophit and isometric training, well-versed in area. And to be honest, some people actually like meeting me because I'm the guy who created it. So there is a level of cachet to that. I think it's kind of funny because to me, it's just me. To other people, like, oh my God, you created Isophit. I'm like, sure, thanks. I went down to a couple of years ago, and this was a story like this warms my heart to date. A man who I have no idea, he walks up, he gives me a giant hug. He goes, Brad, you've changed my life. I'm like, I don't even know who you are, but I love that comment because of what they were doing from a training perspective. This man went from 10 out of 10 in pain to basically functioning daily without medication within a couple of weeks. And the reason for that is when you look at instability and people, if they're moving and they're take your car, unloosen the bolts, drive your car with loose bolts. It breaks down. It becomes risky. Its performance goes down. With human structure, when you loosen your muscular system because of inactivity or poor activity selection, because that can lead to it as well, plus aging. So we give back about 2 centimeters after your 4th decade, which is 30 years old, we start giving back height. So that means your skin and your tendons and your ligaments are all getting a little bit looser. So what it is with isometrics, because it's static strength, it's making you tighter and stronger. Pain dissipates. And there's natural analgesic effect to isometrics that gets rid of pain. So I'm of the belief, well, if I can get rid of pain by doing isometrics, maybe pain is a function of instability and poor muscle function. Now, what we forget about is muscles are attached to tendons. And I don't mean to go too physiological in here, but muscles are attached to tendons. There's 650 muscles, give or take, but there's over 4,000 tendons. So if you have tendonitis and tendons you don't know about, maybe there's an issue. Maybe that tendonitis, we all know hurts, but there's 4,000 tendons. Maybe there's some stuff we're not looking at. And most of the machine that looks at tendonitis don't go deep enough to get the small muscles that are really deep. So they don't even have the ability to observe this stuff. So we have the ability to target it. We have the ability to fix it. I love fix because it fixes stuff. People get very weird when you say fix. They're like, you said it fixes it. Yeah, it does. You just got to do it. And you might have to stop doing some of the dumb stuff that hurt you in the first place. Yeah, okay. So what it is, you get me and it's my baby and you get access to my brain, which is pretty unique in the subject area. And I want to see all of my Isophit family members succeed. Yeah. And the ones that listen and execute, they do. The ones that buy a machine and sort of say, I know what I'm doing, they don't succeed so well. Because it's challenging to learn, but my God, it's so fun. And the clients and the members love it because it gives them an opportunity.
Brad, I'm assuming that you have been to multiple of these facility openings and launches when they get their Isophit in, and I am more than certain that you have worked with members that have used the Isophit for the first time. What are some of the comments that people say to you after using it for the first time?
They're in awe.
Okay.
So they're like, one of the questions that often comes up, and this is bad for some businesses, why do I use the other stuff?
Yeah.
And my answer is because you want to, not because you need to.
Yeah.
And it's not meant to offend people. It's just dynamic exercise does not prepare you for isometrics. Isometrics prepares you for dynamic exercise and yoga and running and lacrosse and football and basketball, because when your muscles are stronger and more tense, they can tolerate and generate more force that they can go and do the marketing activities. So we see that people are like, oh my God, I feel lighter, because all of a sudden you have more muscles working to manage your mass, right? So let's say you had 10 muscles and you're 100 pounds and each, like perfection's 10 pounds per string or 10 pounds per muscle, right? But life, stress, trauma, aging cuts 3 strings and 3 muscles aren't working anymore, but your mass is still 100. Well, that's not 10 pounds. It's now 14.28 pounds per string or per muscle. So there's a 40% workload on those muscles. So what Isophit does, it gives you the 3 back and then adds another 10. So let's say all of a sudden, accidentally, you train all these muscles you didn't know the names of because you did Isophit. Well, now you got 20 muscles working to support the 10 or the 100 pounds. So now it's only 5 pounds per string. So now you disperse load and disperse stress. So now you functionally move better and you become healthier and you can withstand more forces into your body so you don't end up injured, right? How great is that? Right? I mean, I think we're spending trillions of dollars on pain medication right now. Like, it's ridiculous. And these are things that we help with. So we help resolve pain too.
You're speaking to me on that one.
Stuff, right? So, but
scoliosis girl over here got the back pain, got the neck pain, the whole thing.
Well, here's a cool thing. So the International Chiropractic and Scoliosis Boards, their 2013 position paper said you should only do isometrics. Yep. And it's great, right? And the reason for that is because obviously you're looking at the curvature of the spine structure. Well, if you're doing dynamic exercise, the strong side will get stronger, the weak side will get weaker. So the strong side moves and it actually increases the curve, right? Which is not something you necessarily want. So you do need to be strategic if you want to, quote unquote, look to correct it, or you can exercise without further injuring yourself by reducing repetition count.
Wow.
Right? And maximizing the contractility of muscle structure. Right. So it's like, oh, well, when I'm doing cardio training, well, that's just high reps. That's that 5,000 push-ups. Right. Versus, hey, I wanted to do a workout and maybe do 30 total reps. Wow. Right. It's pretty crazy. So
that's wild. When you are looking to partner with facilities, no matter what kind of facility it is, are there certain traits that you're looking for in partners in order to bring in an Isofit to their facility?
The answer to that is yes. And it's basically a very broad window of who I'm looking for. I need somebody who's willing to learn and willing to help people. It's not about money. Money's a byproduct of helping people. And that's the person I want to work with. If you're, I'm only concerned about revenue generation. Yeah, guess what? I don't really care to work with you. It's important. My mission in life is basically create health, change lives, give back, right? That's why a lot of my information is free. It's like, oh, well, I want to charge for my information. I want you to know this. I want you to make a difference. I don't want your dad or your mom to die early because I withheld that information. To me, that's, it's me not living up to my full potential. If I have the ability to help people, I want the organizations that I deal with to help people. And I want them, and everyone, obviously, in the gym industry, you go, yes, I'm here to help. But we know that's not the case, sadly. And, unfortunately, there's certain people within the industry, businesses within this industry that need to raise their game. And if they want to do that as well, I'm happy to help with them too. So it's, I'm really happy to really help anybody. And it's not about necessarily making more money for Brad. I live a fulfilled life, and money is not a motivating feature for me. So.
Wow. Well, Brad, I am blown away. I personally have learned so much today about Isometrics, about you, about Isophit, and you've become such a good friend so quickly. I know we just met in June in person, but thank you so much.
Wonderful. It's amazing. I'm like, I'm going to be your friend.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for all of the insight that you shared on today's show. And what I would like to do is on our website, so on fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, there'll be this show, our show notes, things like that. But I would also really like to highlight your YouTube channel so that our listeners can take a peek as to what some of these exercises look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, during COVID, we had what's called Zero Velocity Podcast. We have 11 hours worth of information there. And it's going from reasons like for blood pressure, postpartum, women, stuff like that, injury prevention, neck pain, back pain, all that sort of stuff in basically video podcast format. And there's over 400 videos basically on exercises. And we created a whole program called 30 and 30. Businesses streamline their exercise prescription. All of those programs are already there. So that way you have access, you can look at it and go, oh, that machine does that many things. Oh my God. And that workout is that challenging. Wow. And it's really, as I said, 7 square feet. So that's smaller than the footprint of a spin bike.
Amazing. Brad, if any of our FBP family want to reach out to you and learn more, what website or email are we sending them to?
Email Brad, BRAD, at Isophit, ISOPHIT.com, not the F, that takes you somewhere else. I joke around and say PH is for higher learning, right? Like PhD, where F stands for failure. Oh, bad. I know that offended people, sorry. But anyways, so there's that. Best place is probably Instagram. I'm heavily active on that. We post videos basically every day. So the business account is at Isophit, so ISOPHIT, and my personal one is at Isophit_Inventor.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much it. And outside of that, isofitmsk.ca is our website.
Perfect. Well, Brad, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in to the value proposition for creating health and changing lives with Isophit. Tune in Friday, September 23rd for our next value proposition episode. And to show we walk the talk at the Fitness Business Podcast, all resources and links for today's show can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, adding value to our FBP family. Until next month, what you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. See you next month, FBP family.